Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, and you are in the Java Cafe. We would like to welcome you. Welcome to the Java fam. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Let it be known that this is your first time here. I'm going to go in real quick over in the Instagram section and see who is in the room this morning. Brother Stephen is in the room. Brother Anthony is in the room. Ari is in the room. Good morning to you. Ooh, Instagram is zoomed in and showing the link on my mic. But good to see you all over on Instagram this morning. We're going to be in for a quick shot because I shared with some of you all earlier this week that this MacBook Pro here, it's acting up. And so I got to get to the Apple store. So we're going to have a quick shot this morning to make sure that everything is good. Let's go in the Facebook section and see who is in the room so far this morning. Mama Java, of course, is in the room. Good to see you in the room this morning. Nisi, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Naraki, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. Miss Teresa, good to see you in the room, coming off you and Brother Angel's anniversary. Congrats again. Also, the pastor, Sharon Cornelius is in the room. Good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Also, we have, hold on, let me get back here. We also have, I think that's everybody in the Facebook section. I think I got everybody. Good to see everyone in the room this morning. Listen, things are still interesting as far as they pertain to what's going on in Washington. I know that there is a lot of disappointment in what happened with the 8 Democrats that voted with Republicans to reopen the government. There was a post that someone put up earlier, and we referred to the question was asked about what are the thoughts in reference to those 8 people, and it from the crookedness of this administration may be threatening them to they may not be running for office again, to their constituents calling the office and saying, hey, we need the government open. I saw a clip from CNN that talked about one of them that voted for it talked about, I'll get to Miss Teresa's comment in a minute. One of them talked about, getting their children to be fed and the elders to be fed. And, as I say about the mayor and other elected officials, we do not know all the facts. And while that may be true, one of the facts that we know is the reopening of the government is basically a pass to the implementation of that big, interesting bill. And so with the downsizing of government and everything going on, this is Wednesday, so we're in a little bit of a we need to know vein. It's very, very interesting as it pertains to what it is that is going on around impact. And so these 8 Democrats that voted along with the Republicans is just it's bad. It's bad. Let's just keep that totally honest and ensure that we pay attention to what's going on when there are actions that we want to participate in or with, do so and be sure that we're knowledgeable of saving, of having non-perishables on deck, gardening, things like that. So I shared a lot of that in the interview with Nia Grace at the Museum of Science. So just wanted to put that out there. Over in the Instagram section, Daniel Laurent jumped on. Good to see you in the room. Naraki, good morning to you. Beautiful. Good to see you in the room this morning as well. As I said, today is going to be a quick shot of Java, checking in around a lot of the things that's going on in community. One of the things, we're in the process of the city council president being elected come January, and there is a lot going on out there. I've had conversations with 4 city councilors a fifth one this coming Friday, um, just to get a sense of what's going on, to share some thoughts, um, and this thing of the city councilors are going to vote for who they think is best for president. But as I said yesterday, and I've said to at least three of the councilors, this may be actually all four. This may be an opportunity to allow a different level of influence on that vote. And let's just be real, calls, nudges, hey, you need to in person in conversations. Has that went on? Have mayors in the past maybe orchestrated who's going to be the president because they know that if anything happens to them, their next in line is the city council president? Precedents around influence on a councilor's vote for the president of city council is not new. I think because a lot of the attention and city councilor Mejia's video, city councilor Zapata's declaration of having the votes, it's out there very early, and therefore it's causing folks like me and others to talk about it. And so is there an opportunity for community to continue and more everyday resident voter rather than folks like me, political strategist, pundit, and us folks. So I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think that everyday voters should have an influence on a city councilor's vote for president of city council? Answer that question for me. Do you think that city council that voters, everyday voters, do you think that everyday voters should have a influence? I'm doing this in real time on the city councilors vote for president. I want to hear your thoughts, and I'm getting ready to go to one other thought that Miss Teresa put up here in a second. Someone told me the other day that I type hard, whatever. Okay, let's get this edited, and we'll post it while we go to Miss Teresa's little comment. So here's the question I need you to answer. And actually it's a question, so let me just put a question mark there rather than a period. Boston Public School graduate. I know grammar. Answer this for me while I go to Miss Teresa's previous comment and give her a little bit of shade. What Miss Teresa said was, oh, your Apple product is acting up. You say, yes, it is. I've had this computer, I want to say, since May of 22. And so computers, what's that, 3 years? And as much wear and tear as I put on this computer, Miss Teresa. Yeah, it's just the screen. And I think I know what happened. On Thursday when I left GBH, I was talking, slid a stapled packet in between when I closed the computer. And right where I see this little spot here is more than likely where the staple was, and probably pressed up on the screen and messed the screen up. So anyway, a little confession. That's why we're having a quick shot rather today. Brother Milton is in the room, according to my mother, saying good morning to him. Pastor Marion, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Nicole, we need to figure out how we're going to get up. We need to figure out how we're going to get up. Everything is all set. So we just need to arrange our time to meet up. Pastor Marion is answering the question, and the question that I'm posing to you all right now is, do you think that everyday voters should have influence? Oh, let me correct this. Sorry. Influence, or should influence rather. Do you think it should influence the city councilor's vote for city council president? And so Pastor Marion's response was this, that she believes that yes, if that person is to represent us everyday people. The other part that I said yesterday, and I'll just reiterate again, is the city council president assigns committees. And it is important that those city councilors that may have started some work, that may have got legislation across the line, be able to continue to do that, either as chair or co-chair of a committee. And so it's a lot to observe. It's a lot to discuss. It's a lot to learn about the process. I shared with you all the city charter yesterday, so you can go and look at it for yourself about a lot of the rules. Look at the dates that some new rules and amendments were made based on who was running, who got in, who was on the council, who may have felt threatened. I'm going to leave that right there. I see a couple of new comments. Auntie Paula is in the room, everybody. Please say hi to Auntie Paula. It's good to see you in the room, Auntie Paula. And she said yes to the question. Thank you. Michelle D. Smith says everyday voters should influence the vote for city council president, since the city council is tasked to work on behalf of the city citizens. Tongue twister, Michelle. So we have agreed by Mama Java. We have yes by Auntie Paula. Michelle D. Smith said yes. So did Pastor Marion. Others, if you have some thoughts, please let me know. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any comments. Milton said yes, and his vote is for Julia. Okay, I think I got everybody's thoughts there. So this is the question. If you're just joining, let me go over to Instagram and see if there are any thoughts over there. Okay, Ari says no, not enough people do their due diligence and use their critical thinking. People that popularity cloud their judgment. And she edited the comment here. No, not enough people do their due diligence or use critical thinking. And a lot of people let popularity cloud their judgment. And so I would ask Ari and challenge a second level of that question. Is that just the voters? And respectfully, they're humans. To our counselors, the popularity and or conversations that happen behind the scenes. Everybody knows that, not everybody, but a lot of us are aware that in the past there have been, and I mean decades, I'm not talking just recent, I'm talking decades, conversations about, votes and committees and things like that. So, and priorities, because the other thing that we would like to know on two levels is, what is it that the city council president's priorities are? And also, and I've mentioned to a couple of them that one of the things that come to mind is, if anything happens to the mayor, who being president could represent Boston 10 toes down, like the mayor did in Washington. And I found myself saying to a couple of them, in these times, we are in unprecedented different times. And it just, so I do have favorability among one that I'm hearing that may put their hat in the ring. And I'll be honest, yes. And it may not be who you think it is. I don't want to say, because me saying too much around their either gender or we share some demographic. Back to the comments. Milagro, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Liza Marie White. I believe it's Liza versus Lisa, or Lisa, maybe. Good to see you in the room this morning. Back over to Instagram to see if any more comments are on there. Latoya Richards, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. All right, I think I am caught up with the comments. And again, the question that is currently being posed is, do you think everyday residents should have influence on a city councilor's vote for the city council president? That is the question that is out there right now. Another thing I want to let you know and remind you that tomorrow morning we will welcome Shay Stansberry from Baltimore, Maryland. He is a personality. He's an elder. He's a preacher. He's a personality in his own right. And he's coming on to talk with us about the importance of Black joy, again, especially in these times. And then at 10 a.m., we're going to speak with the founder of the Davis System and Democratic strategist, Anthony Davis Jr., will be with us in the 10 a.m. half hour. So please make sure you plan to join us tomorrow morning at 9:30 instead of 10 a.m. I can guarantee you that tomorrow morning at 9:30, you are going to have a lot of laughs. Brother Shay and I go back to my time in ministry and youth ministry, national youth ministry, and it's going to be a interesting show tomorrow at 9:30, as well as at 10 a.m. with unpacking a lot of the politics in Boston politics and Black Boston Poly, as we did with Malia Lazu and also Dart Adams on GBH last week. We're going to put some clips up and share that video with you all very soon, as well as the one we did last month with what was it, September? October, with Danielle Johnson, Marv Neal, and Courtney Boston, about Black media. And so we'll share both of those videos in their entirety very soon. Just a note as well, we want to remind you, if you were not able to make the anniversary event at the Museum of Science, we would like to let you know that only over on YouTube, I'm going to put the link in the comments. You can go to YouTube and see that video live, my interview with Nia Grace. And it's interesting, and I'll go ahead and I'll put the link up in a second. You learn a lot about me in this video with Nia, and I'm going to, if you're watching on James W. Hills, I'm about to put it on right now. You learn a lot about me in that video with Nia, as well as of yesterday, there was an article that came out, and I want to shout out Ross from Boston.com. I am dare not going to try to say and butcher his name. I know you all will get a kick out of that, but I'm dare not going to do that to myself. But let me grab that article real quick for you all. In addition to the video that I just posted, there is also this information. Okay. There is also this information a link I'd like to share with you that it's a definite I won't say tell all, but it is, where is the link? Okay. I'm getting it here. There it goes. Here is the link for the article that was just dropped on Boston.com yesterday. And so it's if you're new to the Java Cafe, to the Java family, there's a lot there. And if you watch often, there's a lot there as well. I with Nia and also this brother from Boston.com, I really kept it real about the weight, about the past, we're completing we're well past. Uh-oh. Did I put it in the wrong spot? Uh-oh, everybody. I think I may have put, okay, maybe the wrong video. Hold on. This is the one I need to be put in the comments. That was the video from yesterday. Okay. There's the comment on James Hills for the article. And then I have to go back and put the link for the conversation with Nia Grace on James Hills. It's working on Java with Jimmy, but yeah, it's all the stuff that goes on in the background. Engineering, production, all that good stuff. All right, all the links are there, no matter where you're watching, except for Instagram. I have to get those put on Instagram as well. Making sure, I just saw a text come in, making sure it's not program related. Listen, it is 10:23. I'm going to try to hold out for a few more seconds so Union Capital members can get an hour's worth of credit, as they do, for watching Java with Jimmy. Back over to Instagram. Let's see who has joined in and or commented on there. If you have not yet, put your thoughts in reference to whether the community, the voters, should have impact on the city councilors' votes as it pertains to the city council president. I'm still offering you an opportunity to give your feedback here. I'd like to get a good amount of feedback. That way I can pass that on to the counselors. And they probably know and are aware, and they're probably getting phone calls from a majority of, again, pundits, strategists, operatives, and developers and business owners. And they are voters. Let's just be fair. They are voters. But you all get the sentiment when I say everyday voters that may not be as engaged and may not have all these conversations and may not have access to the elected officials. And so those of us that do, and as I said in that article, we don't always do well and perfect with it. However, I'll say for me, I try to do my best to speak to what I'm hearing in a sense of majority. And yes, sometimes it is mixed with experience. And yes, sometimes it is mixed with opinion. And all the time it's mixed with suggestions of how we can do things better. All right, last check in the comments. And well, we got about 6 minutes left. We're going to get ready to wrap up. Pastor Marion said, yes, if that person, her second comment in reference to it, yes, if that person represents us everyday people. And I think that, oh, shoot, that was a comment from earlier. Liza says, I believe the vote should stay within the council as the people have already voted them in. Great point. I would say another thought to consider there is it is important when we vote the people in that we stay engaged with them around every vote. I'll frame it like that. Around every vote that's coming up, where we have knowledge, not just with the president, but all year long, all home rule petitions, all ordinances that are being proposed, we should have influence on that. But another point to consider is that there are dynamics. As I said yesterday, everybody on the council is an incumbent. Each of them have a point of reference in working with each other, except for Minion Culpepper from D7. I want to say something there. Brother Hakeem, Pocket Lit Films, commented the other day and said, give that brother a chance to lead. I've said to you all before that there is an advantage and somewhat of a disadvantage to moving in these spaces for a long period of time and having points of reference with people and individuals. And that is the reason that, I have been vocal and virtually vocal about the D7 counselor elect. And with that being said, if there are things that need support that's going to help community to get things out there and all of that, as a D7 resident, will I do? If I'm called upon to and engage, yes. But again, there sometimes are disadvantages to moving in consistent spaces for a long period of time, because in there you can have good, bad, and ugly points of reference. And that's with everything. So I'll just leave that there. Dina is in the, let me, oh Jesus. I don't know what she's going to say, because Dina has a tendency to get me started. Dina says, we the people should vote city council president, but the same few will actually go vote. So I don't know what's best. We definitely, per charter, don't vote for the president. That is elected among the body of whom they are. But I think we can have influence. I think we can have influence. And to Liza's point, the first point of influence is that we voted for these counselors. You know what I mean? And so it's just try to be balanced and try to, incorporate as many perspectives as possible. All right. We got about 3 minutes and we're going to get ready to wrap up in a couple of seconds. So again, Union Capital members can get there. The Real Boston Media is in the room. I'm curious to hear their thoughts. The current question that is out there, do you think that everyday voters should have influence? Oh, I have my own question in, and then they edited it. Do you think that everyday voters should influence the city councilor's vote for city council president? The Real Boston Media, I would really love to hear your thoughts. Real quick on the topic. Miss Teresa says, "Good morning to Dina." They are communicating in their own conversation there. Okay. Pastor Sharon Cornelia said, "That's a long sip again." I was told yesterday that that sip I did yesterday was the longest in history of Java with Jimmy. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. I encourage you all to check out that article. That reporter, Ross, he's good at what he does, and we did it on a Zoom, and so it wasn't just a phone convo. Like I saw his facial expressions, he saw mine, and it was good. It was. I really enjoyed speaking with him. So Ross, again, thank you for the opportunity to just share a large part of the journey and story as it pertains to Java with Jimmy and me and Java with Jimmy and the Java family. All right, the Real Boston Media is going to has given us their comment, and from here it's 10:30. After this one, we're going to wrap up. I will do one more check over on Instagram just to be sure. Good morning to Bowles Yoga. Good to see you in the room. Ari said, "Sorry, I missed the challenge. I got a phone call." What did I say about a challenge? Jesus, I forgot. All right, back to the Real Boston Media's comment. They should do it like NBA, half voters, half amongst those who are up there. All right, so Dina and the Real Boston Media kind of have a point. Dina said, "Look up her other comment." Hold on. We the people. Have a great day, everyone. We may vote someone in, but we may not want that person to take over the mayor if needed. I'm just saying. And that is, Dina, I said a few minutes ago, either right before you joined, that that's a consideration. Going to DC is a consideration. And again, we hope, pray, and God cover and protect all of our elected officials. Seriously, God cover and protect all of our elected officials. And we pray specifically when we're talking about this that, the mayor, goals all the time, all the 4 years, and does well. But in the charter, if anything happens to the mayor, sitting mayor, the city council president becomes the interim mayor. And we are at the beginning of a term. With that brings a lot. I'll say this, and then we can get ready to wrap up. In any situation, if an incumbent, if the current mayor exits for any reason early in the term, that city council president then finishes out. Let me get it right. I believe, I don't think is there? I got to go back and look in the charter. I don't want to misquote. I'm not. I think there's something in the charter depending on the timing. I think there's something in the charter depending on the timing, how much time is left before the election, blah blah blah. I think there's something in there. But whatever the case, that is the next person in line to be the mayor, and that is a consideration that voters and city councilors, because, for example, anybody that's worked with me in Java with Jimmy, who's a close friend or whatever, if I was up for a state media related community voice in state house position, and the governor went to the public and said, "Hey, here's a survey. What do you all think Java with Jimmy is doing? Has it had an impact? This is someone we should work with." There's the public, and that's going to be a whole lot of different type of opinions. But the best information away from impact, and they can speak to impact as well are those that are in the inner circle, are those that work closely with, um, I break bread with, I fuss with, they critique, I push back. That circle, no, and it's a little different scenario, but among them, they know the qualifications, the weaknesses, the room to grow versus what the public sees from city council. I'm flipping this from to city council meetings, clips and media sound bites in the media from a city council meeting or a Zoom, and so as I said before, and we'll wrap with this, the attention that has come to this position, I think in my very one of a period of my life, but I'm very active politically. Um, there's a lot of attention to it, and I think going forward that will continue, to be the case. And we have precedents in chronological order only. Councilor Mejia declared publicly and put the video out, and then Councilor Zapata put out a press release that she got the votes. If I'm right, publicly this early, I think this is unprecedented. I got to check with a couple of my Boston Poly history buffs, but I know I've had the thought like, oh shoot, this is different. So all that to say that I think as voters, we're going to keep paying attention. We should. I encourage us to pay attention to any and everything that our elected officials are doing. Don't forget, next year is I believe, county and state level ballot questions. We're going to start early with those. I can almost tell you right now, before we go, 2026 Massachusetts approved ballot questions. As of November 9th, 2025. Come on. These are the things that are being put up for us to vote on. On the ballot so far is the modernization firearms law, passed in 2024. I know that the Massachusetts Coalition to Prevent Gun Violence is attempting to make sure that we keep our progressive gun laws here in Massachusetts. Some things that are okay. Massachusetts ballot measures. This is more of a national website, so I'm going to go and try to get more of a local website. And I'm backing up this computer in the background, and that's why it's moving slow. Okay, yeah, no, this is a national website. Hold on. Let's get a more local. All right. Current ballot initiatives file. And this is on the state website. Okay, here we go. For 26. Initiative petition for a call of constitutional amendment relative to voting rights. Initiative petition for a constitutional amendment regarding the public funding of abortion. Petition for a law to allow single-family homes on small lots in areas with adequate infrastructure. Petition for a law to require voter identification in Massachusetts, version A. Petition for a law to require voter identification in Massachusetts, version B. Petition for a law to require compliance with the current absentee ballot procedure for early mail-in and voting in Massachusetts. Petition for law to classify the content of the Massachusetts Central Registry of Voters as public records. Initiative petition for a law relative to election day registration. Initiative petition relative. Oh, Jesus, there's a lot. Relative to regulating marijuana. There's a whole lot. Let me just, Jesus Lord. So these are all the ones that have been proposed. And then these are the ones that are filed, and I'm trying to see if they're, before I post it, so I can post the right one. They have the break. This is a very comprehensive page. Let me share it in the comments, and then I'm really wrapping up because I have to get ready to make sure that this computer stays doing what it needs to do. All right, there it is on James. And then we're going to put it, I see a couple of comments. We're going to close out with those. And so on James, Java with Jimmy on Facebook, and then Java with Jimmy on YouTube, the link to what was filed, I'm going to go back and just do one more sweep and see if there's anything that gives a synopsis of what I know. There was a lot of chatter around what was approved. Let me try a new search. Approved ballot questions for 26 in Massachusetts. See, these are all potential. These are filed. And anything else is really pointing to last year. Well, I cannot currently locate a list that says these are the approved ballot questions. I can't find it, but there's a lot there that has been proposed. Marijuana's on the ballot, gun control's on the ballot. I think psychedelic psychedelic psychotherapy is on the ballot. I believe again. So we're going to pay attention to a lot of that. All right. Couple of more comments and we're going to go. Miss Teresa said something about a joke. Good morning. I don't see it. And then hold on. Okay. I looked, Miss Teresa. All right, let's go to a couple of comments about the ballot questions. So the Real Boston Media said, because it feels pointless if we voting for those people who stand up in their representation of us can't vote for a city council. All right, with y'all, we got some community driven. I don't know if they already use it, but we got some community driven political acronyms forming in the Java Cafe. Can't vote for the CCP as well as for us. So doing a whole other voting process for the CCP is just crazy. I don't know. It by charter, it can't happen. How our voices are represented in Liza's point in our election of those counselors with hope, and they're going to stick to everything presented and portrayed and asserted about them and their values during the election. That's one point. The other point is if you have a thought not just around the CCP, but then also it's in the article, so I'm going to say it. Speed white poles and speed bumps. So the Real Boston Media says it kind of makes you question the system being used. I have to just say this is a thought. Rank choice voting. I'm gonna leave that there. That's going to come up. Thanks, mother. I appreciate you. You was there and got a couple of shout outs. Dina says the Real Boston Media, I agree, except when people are not good and get into the city council outlet in name or by getting the votes of the few who voted in your district. That is a point as well. Milton is saying good morning again. Good to see you in the room. Sister Amani, I saw your post. I felt that. And when I get a chance, I'll raise it. Good to see you in the room. The Real Boston Media said, I think that's why 50-50 works out. So there can be a balance for those who don't necessarily agree with those who got in by majority. Interesting thoughts. The process, which I've been talking about with this process of this would be very interesting. And by charter as it is right now, by vote and by phone call or email, or when you see them or text, that's how we have the influence. The Real Boston Media said you need to have moderators in the chat so we can add links for you. Better is coming. Better is coming. Good morning, Pam. Good to see you in the room. I owe Pam an espresso martini because after the RCC thing the other night, I did not make it over to her event. Pam, good to see you in the room. Miss Teresa said, why do vampires hate when they catch colds? Because they keep. I saw a coffin comment earlier. I thought he was talking about a political coffin, like politicians think. I'm not. You know what? Pam always gets in here. Pam, let me reframe this. I love when Pam comes in and she displays that she is exercising self care, which happens to be out in Vegas. Pam, we pray that you ain't have no travel troubles and you get your happy self back here on time and all that. Because all this FAA stuff. Yes. All right. I'm going to get ready to go. And what do you do you see Urban Capital members? Yeah, everybody's on vacation except me. I did not go anywhere this year. Did I? Let me not lie. No. No. Nope. I went to the vineyard for a few days. I have not. And that was in July. So y'all pray. Because I need to get away. Good God. I don't know if I'm going to, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm probably not going to fly. Not until this stuff gets back together. I can't, y'all can ask the Real Boston Media, Newt, TDS, my mother. Y'all don't want to see me at the airport where they're telling me the flight was canceled and I got to stay in the airport for 8 hours. No, I'm not setting myself up. Rochelle, good to see you in the. Tell your cousin to call me. I'm not going to say their name, but you know who I'm talking about. Tell your cousin to call me and get in touch with me, please. Vineyard counts, but it was short and brief. So I know Rochelle said the other day, no vacation, no sunrises. I'm happy for you, Nisi. I really am. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Pam. I'm happy for all the people that are taking vacation and getting away and outside of Boston. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow